Right now at noon, a woman accused of killing her own mother in the village of Blue Mounds returns to court today. Plus, the latest out of Colorado after several people are injured in a fire attack. What investigators are saying about the suspect. This is News 3 Now at noon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Breiter. First Warn weather starts us off today with heat building in and the smoky skies lingering. That's ahead of what could be severe weather tomorrow afternoon. Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington for your certified most accurate forecast. Hi, Alex.
Hey there, Josh. Hey there, Southern Wisconsin. Yes, all of the above, what you just said there, Josh. And right behind me here on our Queen Bee radio sky cam, it looks like a dark, ominous sky, like a thunderstorm is on the way, as I was mentioning last week. That is the smoky haze that we have in the sky. It gives that milky white color. But even though we have that hazy sky out there, it is going to be a warm day today. Highs in the middle to upper 80s. And let's track that smoke together here and see if we can get that smoke to move on out of here. Take just a moment if I get my model to get working. There we go. Where you see all the orange, that's that hazy smoke. Watch what happens as we go into Tuesday, though. A weather system, as Josh was just mentioning, is going to move into the area, and that's going to help scour out the smoke briefly as we go into Wednesday. That smoke will return behind that weather system. We do have alert day conditions in the forecast for Tuesday going on into Tuesday night. And coming up in Maine weather, I will discuss a little bit more the threats that come along with this cold front moving in on Tuesday. Josh?
All right, Alex, we'll see you in a few. Thank you. You can track the forecast for yourself on the First Warn weather app. It has hourly planners, road conditions, and radar. Download it for free in your phone's app store. Just search WISC weather. Unity Point Health Meriter nurses are back at work today after reaching a 2-year contract agreement with the hospital. The hospital and the nurses union, SEIU, reached an agreement on the final day of a 5-day strike. The deal follows months of negotiations after nurses walked out over concerns about staffing, safety, and burnout. Both the hospital and the union say the new contract makes progress on those issues and includes wage increases. In a statement, Unity Point Health Meriter Chief Nursing Executive says in part, quote, "Nurses are critical to what we do each day, and we believe that this contract recognizes their skill, commitment, and passion," end quote. Happening today, the woman accused of killing her mother in the village of Blue Mounds will appear in court. 31-year-old Sierra Schoonover is charged with first-degree intentional homicide. It stems from the death of her mother, Heather Schoonover. She will appear in court this afternoon for a competency hearing. Police found her 51-year-old mother dead on April 14th at a home on Smoky Mountain Trail. Investigators identify Sierra Schoonover as the suspect. She left the area and police later found her after she crashed on State Highway 78. She went to the hospital before being taken into custody. The suspect in a horrifying flame-throwing attack in Colorado is due in court later today. It happened in Boulder's Pearl Street Mall at weekly Sunday gathering to support Israeli hostages in Gaza. Police say 45-year-old Mohammed Saliman used a makeshift flamethrower and bottles filled with flammable liquid.
It is clear that this is a targeted act of violence, and the FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism.
Homeland Security says Solomon overstayed his visa, which expired in February of 2023, and was in the country illegally. Well, still ahead for us on News 3 Now at noon. If you have a question or concern about your plants or garden, now's the time to send us your questions via email to tips@channel3000.com. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will join us later in the broadcast with the answers. Again, that is tips@channel3000.com. But first, what fresh produce products are being recalled? Plus, who topped the weekend box office?
President Donald Trump's trade war could be ratcheting up again this week. Friday, the president announced that tariffs on foreign steel and aluminum will double from 25% to 50% starting on Wednesday. This as he accuses China of breaking a recent agreement by withholding the export of rare minerals. This morning, a Chinese government spokesman said the accusations are groundless and vowed that Beijing will take forceful measures to protect its own interests. More fresh produce products are being recalled because they contain cucumbers that have been linked to a salmonella outbreak. Isabel's Kitchen is recalling refrigerated deli salads sold under its name, as well as under the names King's and Maple Avenue Foods. Supreme Produce is also recalling multiple grab-and-go salad and veggie pack products, which were mostly distributed by Kroger and affiliated retailers. The FDA says consumers should throw away the impacted products. And Disney's live-action Lilo & Stitch is now the second highest grossing film of 2025 in the U.S., topping the weekend domestic box office again with $63 million. The film has grossed more than $280 million in North America so far, putting it behind a Minecraft movie. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning was second with over $27 million. Karate Kid Legends debuted at third with $21 million. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
Here's a look at the stock numbers at the noon hour. The Dow is down 143 points, NASDAQ up 71, and the S&P 500 down 6. Pam has today's farm news ahead, and Alex returns with the first warn forecast. And later on Live at 4, Madison Magazine's Best of Madison returns. How to support your favorite local businesses. Welcome back. Let's check in now with Pam Yankee for the Midwest Farm Report. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Josh. Yeah, terrarium day. Everybody going to have a skin on them by the time we get done with this weather. But it does help our crops come along. We'll get our latest crop progress report up later this afternoon. I'll tell you one farm family that's keeping an eye on the field, the Bula family. That's part of Signature Farms, LLC, up in Grand Marsh. I made a trip up there to visit with the father-son combination that captured the runner-up position for the National Small Business Award. It's through the U.S. Small Business Administration. And what the Bulas did was work with their local bankers to apply for some guaranteed funding through the Small Business Administration. Now, most people don't think of farms as a part of the coverings of the Small Business Administration, but in reality, the Bula operation, the Signature Farms, was a perfect candidate. So working with their local bank, they applied for some funding. The money was going towards building another storage facility on their potato operation, and they were successful. What they didn't realize is they were going to be the center of attention at the national gathering out in Washington, D.C., where Administrator Kelly Loeffler announced that they were the runners-up Small Business Persons of the Year for the operation in Grand Marsh. Pretty cool. I was talking with Sean and Mark about it on Friday when I was up at the farm, and they said the only thing that they find a little lacking with the Small Business Administration is that the loan size that they are able to authorize, not quite as much as what production agriculture could really use in this day and time, but still, educational process on both sides of the table. Sean standing there with the award that was presented to him in Washington, D.C., after they went through several two-day virtual summit events, including talking about cybersecurity, digital marketing, manufacturing assets, and also knowing what challenges labor faces. So pretty cool. Congratulations again, Mark and Sean Bula of Signature Farms in Grand Marsh, named Wisconsin's 2025 Small Business Persons of the Year and runners-up on the national scene. And I also want to congratulate another young lady that was selected from a field of qualified candidates Saturday to become Greene County's Fairest of the Fair. There she is in the middle there. Katie Brooks from Judah is the Greene County Fairest of the Fairs. She's got my staff assistant Stephanie Hoff on one side, my other assistant Ben Jarbo on the other. They were part of the emceeing crowd at the Greene County Breakfast on the Farm Saturday. Congratulations again, Katie Brooks from Judah. Markets today in Chicago, mixed to say the least as far as corn and soybeans are concerned. Wheat was on a pretty good tear upwards earlier this morning, but even that's started to taper off. Like I said, we'll get the latest planting progress report this afternoon. I'll let you know tomorrow just exactly how Wisconsin's doing, but also some states that have been challenged with wet weather, like Illinois, parts of eastern Ohio, all the way up into New York State. They still are struggling to try to get those fields planted. We'll see how well they have done. So we are into June now. That means no longer will I be giving you the barrel cheese price. As part of federal milk order reviews, they have decided they are not going to use barrel cheese as a market driver anymore. I can tell you 40-pound black cheese on a Monday was up 3/4 cents at $1.95.5. The AA butter, 3.5 cents higher today, Josh, back to $2.51 a pound. So pretty cool. Potato producers from central Wisconsin, runners up in the Small Business Award recognition out in Washington, D.C. They were the only farms in the audience.
That's awesome. That's a big deal. I mean, that's something really to be proud of.
Yeah, for sure. And super nice folks. They spent a lot of time with me on Friday. I appreciate them.
All right, excellent stuff. Pam, thank you.
See you later.
Well, we've got some chances for some severe weather tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington has the first warn forecast. Hi, Alex.
Hey there, reading my mind because look at the graphic right behind me here, Josh, in southern Wisconsin. Alert day conditions are in the forecast. We had started putting this out there over the course of the weekend. And even last week I was mentioning as we were heading towards Tuesday going into Wednesday that we would have the potential for a couple of strong storms. And that certainly looks like it will be the case with a level 2 out of 5 risk from Madison areas to the south and to the west. And what that means is that we will be looking at the potential for a couple of thunderstorms tomorrow to get up potentially to severe criteria. Let's track that here with Future Track. First today, dry, but we do have those hazy skies up there. That's not going to keep those temperatures from soaring into the middle to upper 80s in some cases. So a very, very warm day for southern Wisconsin for early June. This is a good 10 degrees, if not a little bit more than 10 degrees above normal. Now let's march into Tuesday. And Tuesday's impact with the thunderstorms will also impact the wildfire smoke. More on that in just a moment. As we go a little bit further into Tuesday afternoon, as we head towards 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, up towards Camp Douglas, up towards Viroqua, west of Boscobel, west of Prairie du Chien, you notice that cold front pushing into the area, getting up to about the Madison area, down to Darlington and Platteville, and off to the north and east, up towards Marquette and Green Lake counties around 6 o'clock. And notice the thin strip nature of the line of thunderstorms that is expected to move through the area. That tells me that the main threat is probably going to be strong winds with that line of thunderstorms if any of those storms do become severe during the afternoon. And then as we go into Tuesday night, we'll get behind the cold front and we'll still have a few showers, maybe a couple of isolated thunderstorms. But that window of opportunity for severe weather looks like it's going to be during the late afternoon hours going into the early evening hours, and then we can rest easy as we go over into the overnight hours as we just have a few remaining showers and then cooler by the time we get to Wednesday. Again, main threat is going to be strong gusty winds, potentially over 60 miles per hour with that line of thunderstorms Tuesday afternoon going into Tuesday evening. And rainfall amounts, good quarter, half-inch solid across all of southern Wisconsin, but a couple places could pick upwards of an inch of rain, and it is a likely chance. Everyone very likely will see this line of thunderstorms move through the area as we go through the afternoon hours of Tuesday going into Wednesday. Now that smoke, those hazy skies, all that red, what you see there, that's that smoke concentration in the upper atmosphere. And watch what happens as we go into Tuesday afternoon. We have that smoke in the morning up through about noon. Then as that cold front gets closer to the area, that cold front and the precipitation will take that smoke in the upper atmosphere, bring it down to the ground, stamp it out because of the rainfall and that downward motion for a little bit, just a little bit. Look what happens then as we go into Wednesday. That smoke plume builds back in because behind that cold front, all of that air and that moisture has then since pushed off towards the east, and that allows that smoke to infiltrate and build back in. Right now, temperatures are in the low 70s to upper 70s, near 80 by the Mississippi River. We got 73 in Madison, 76 to the west in Middleton, and over the next 12 hours, those temperatures will go up to a high of 84, and temperatures still in the 70s as we head towards the midnight hour. Overnight low temperatures tonight right around 70 degrees. We got that alert day Tuesday in the forecast, and then on and off shower and storm chances with temperatures where they should be for this time of year. Josh?
All right, Alex, thank you.
You bet.
Well, today, Howard has a recipe that proves the way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Over the years, we've created all sorts of recipes that inspire romance. On Valentine's Day, we've made a lava cake that could melt anyone's heart. We've also shared something called engagement chicken, which is so good that once you make it for that someone special, it'll seal the deal. Since it's the beginning of June, which happens to be the biggest month of the year for weddings, I thought I'd share a recipe with you for something called newlywed pot roast. All it is a chuck roast that we seared along with lots of onions until they were browned. Then we add some water, lemon juice, brown sugar, salt, and get this, some cinnamon. Now all we do is loosely cover it, turn it down to a simmer until it's fork tender. That's it. And when you serve this to that someone special, get ready for the sparks to fly. It's that good. Maybe pair it with a glass of wine and some of your favorite go-alongs and see what happens. So what are you waiting for? Go online and check out the recipe for our Newlyweds Pot Roast. So you'll have a secret weapon to keep your honeymoon going, no matter how long you've been together. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a sweetheart of a way for you to say, ooh, it's so good. Nice and...
Coming up next at noon, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here answering your plant and garden questions. You can email them to tips@channel3000.com, and we'll get the answers when we come back. Welcome back this afternoon. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here answering your plant and garden questions. You can email them to tips@channel3000.com. Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
We've made it to meteorological summer now that it's June.
That is true.
And
it's almost astronomical summer.
Oh, we're almost there.
In just a couple of weeks.
I mean, Father's Day is right around the corner. Yeah, it's a busy time of year, and it's starting to feel like summer out there too.
Yep, you can finally plant everything and not
finally.
worry. Hopefully,
fingers
not
crossed.
have to worry about covering
You never
stuff
know
up
here.
at night. We saw a lot of people bringing in vegetables and annuals with, discolored leaves and that kind of thing because they had left them out for those few days a couple weeks ago when it was 45 and rainy all day.
Yeah, got a little stressful.
It did get a little stressful.
What do we got here?
This is just a really pretty little moth orchid in a hoop.
It's pretty.
It is pretty, yeah. I was very busy this morning cleaning up some stuff from the weekend, and so I asked Gina to pick something out, and this
Nice
is what
and
she put
simple,
together.
too. I like
yes,
that.
Yes, and small, so.
All right, the questions are rolling in. We're going to start with
Okay.
Art. Art says he has a clover-type weed growing in his raspberries. Is there something he can use to get rid of them?
So it's probably a clover. There are lots of clovers out here in lawns and things, so that's probably what it is. Any herbicide that you use on that, if it touches the raspberry canes, it will also damage the raspberries. Unfortunately, there's no herbicide that knows the difference between what we think is a weed and what we want to keep. So you can certainly remove it. Don't let things like that go to seed. That will help keep them from spreading. You can use, a trowel or something to dig them out. You might be able, very early before things start to leaf out in the spring, use a herbicide really selectively, really carefully to treat them that way. But right now, it's mechanical removal.
All right. Stephen sent us a photo of a plant saying it came up on itself. What is it? I was able to show that to you earlier.
Yes, and I saw that picture. It's a really pretty little cut leaf with a yellow flower, and it's called a woods poppy, also called celandine daisy.
It's pretty.
It is very pretty, and it probably seeded in from a bird or an animal, just carried the seed in.
Which is crazy to think about that
happens all the
can
time.
happen. Yeah,
Happens
I suppose.
all the time.
All right, let's get to question number 3 from Lori. Lori says she planted a bare root apple tree a week ago and something started eating the bark. She thinks it's a rabbit. Yeah. Is the tree going to continue growing, or should they put anything around to protect it?
Now that you have rabbits kind of chewing on it, I would certainly protect it. If the rabbit damage just kind of did a vertical strip, protect it, make sure you keep it well watered and so it stays vigorous. Unfortunately, if that rabbit went all the way around the circumference of that trunk and that there is a broken line of bark, then unfortunately the rabbit sort of got rid of it for you. That's
bummer.
called girdling, and we see it a lot with rabbit damage and also like mouse and vole damage in the winter.
Oh, that's not good.
So if you even have like half of the bark left and an unbroken strip from the bottom to the top, then go ahead and put some paper wrapping, tree wrapping on it to protect it from any further damage.
All right. Good stuff today, Lisa.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's go to Alex now for a final check.
Josh, we got the smoky skies that are going to continue for the afternoon going on into tonight, at least into part of tomorrow as well, where you see behind me here, all of this orange, all this red, that's at hazy conditions from that wildfire smoke up in Canada. And that will continue throughout the day today. So if you are susceptible to these conditions outside from previous years, you might want to limit outdoor activities this afternoon going into this evening. Then we'll be keeping an eye on alert day conditions for Tuesday and Tuesday night for strong thunderstorms join me at 4 o'clock. I'll have the very latest future track projection on that line of storms expected to come through during the afternoon tomorrow.
All right, Alex, thank you. Thanks for watching News 3 Now at noon. Coming up next is The Bold and the Beautiful. We're always on at channel3000.com.